More than 10,000 supporters show up in Butuan City, cheering for presidential bet Vice President Leni Robredo and her running mate Senator Kiko Pangilinan. Supporters on Wednesday night, March 9, arrived despite the absence of many of Butuan City and Agusan del Norte's prominent politicians. Only Agusan del Norte 1st District Representative Lawrence Fortun and several Butuan City councilors joined Robredo, Pangilinan, and their senatorial bets on stage. Through a chorus of chants, the crowd in Butuan addresses claims of Cavite's 7th District Representative Boying Remulla that Robredo supporters in her Cavite rally were paid. They chant, "Hindi kami bayaran," or "We are not paid." Pangilinan says there is an avalanche of disinformation on social media that should be countered with the truth, especially by the youth, in the weeks leading to the May elections. Robredo, meanwhile, says the fight against disinformation can be done with patience, compassion, and understanding. Presidential candidate Isko Moreno agrees with calls to postpone the barangay election slated for December 2022. While campaigning in Cabiao, Nueva Ecija, the Manila mayor says the billions of pesos it would cost can be used to help struggling Filipinos instead.
So kung ako tatanungin, kakatapos lang ng eleksyon by May, itong presidential election, and this will cost us about between 7 to 8 billion pesos. Now, kung mag-i-eleksyon na naman tayo sa September, gagastos na naman ang gobyerno ng mga 8 billion pesos. So ako, sa akin, extend muna natin yung barangay election for another year or a year and a half.
The Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan or SK elections will take place on December 5. The Duterte government asked for 8.4 billion pesos to conduct it in its 2022 budget. Presidential candidate Manny Pacquiao also says he supports the postponement of barangay elections in December. He says he would rather have the budget to be used to fund the government's pandemic response. Senator Panfilo Lacson also supports the idea. Barangay and SK elections were repeatedly postponed under the Duterte administration. If the December 2022 elections are postponed again, officials elected in 2018 will have been in power for almost 5 years. This exceeds the usual 3-year term.
Need more context, clarity, and perspective? Get the full picture with Rappler Plus. With exclusive content and events, you'll get an opportunity to discuss issues with reporters, experts, and featured guests while helping Rappler continue its fearless journalism. Join now.
Presidential candidate Senator Manny Pacquiao says scammers are using his name to charge money, supposedly in exchange for financial aid and food packs. Pacquiao says Thursday, March 10, scammers went around Candaba town in Pampanga and duped residents into paying 250 pesos for an ID card to be a member of the bogus organization of Pacquiao supporters. Pacquiao learns this ID card was supposed to be an identifier that they would receive groceries and cash aid from the presidential candidate once he visits the town. The senator says he will have the suspects arrested. If they don't surrender, he will be forced to give a reward for them to be arrested. Pacquiao says the complaint was already referred to the Candaba police. Ukraine accuses Russia of carrying out genocide after a Russian aircraft bombed a children's hospital on Wednesday, burying patients in rubble. This comes despite a ceasefire deal for people to flee Mariupol. But Russia says the reports are fake news as the building was a former maternity hospital that had long been taken over by troops. Russia's war in Ukraine enters the 3rd week, but none of its key objectives are reached despite thousands of casualties, millions of refugees, and thousands forced to cower in besieged cities under relentless bombardment. Moscow's objectives of crushing the Ukrainian military and ousting the pro-West elected government of President Volodymyr Zelensky also remain out of reach. Zelensky is unshaken and Western military aid is pouring across the Polish and Romanian borders. Putin earlier said the advance by his forces in Ukraine was going according to plan and to schedule. Yet Western-led sanctions to cut the Russian economy and government from international financial markets are also beginning to bite. The Russian share market and the ruble is plunging, and ordinary Russians are rushing to hoard cash. Fashion icon Heart Evangelista reaches another international milestone. She makes it to Vogue Singapore's Best Dressed list for Paris Fashion Week. She is the only Filipina celebrity on the list. Appearing in Vogue Singapore's list alongside her are Hollywood icons like Rihanna, Victoria Beckham, Zendaya, Kim Kardashian, and Blackpink members Jennie and Jisoo. Heart has been staying in Paris since late February, where she was seen attending Fashion Week shows, hanging out with luxury brand executives, and having breakfast with Vogue Editor-in-Chief Anna Wintour and British Vogue Editor-in-Chief Edward Enninful. The meetup with Anna and Edward is for their Vogue 100, a list of influencers and creatives selected and featured by the magazine. Heart was included in the Vogue 100 in 2019 and has been a fixture at fashion weeks all over the world.